Here we have the Sony Xperia 10 Mark VI, and today we will check out every little detail of the smartphone, but like always, let's start with the unboxing. So once you open up the rather large white paper box, you first get the smartphone itself. So I got the white version, but you can also grab it in the colors of black and light blue. Now besides the smartphone, you will only get a ton of paper stuff and no extra smartphone case or a SIM card remover. The reason for not getting the SIM card remover is that you actually open it up with your fingers, which is great. I would love to see that feature on other smartphones. It's just so much easier. Alright, with the Sony Xperia 10 Mark VI, you will get a full plastic smartphone with a plastic frame and a plastic back, but at least you get Corning Gorilla Glass Victus for your display protection. Now you have to know that 50% of the plastic they use to build the smartphone is recycled, which is a good thing for the environment. But also the box in which you get the smartphone is free of plastic. Now on the backside you have that frosted glass look, at least for the white color, which looks awesome in my opinion. In the middle you get the Sony logo, and on the top left corner you will find your dual camera setup. It's a 48 megapixel main camera with OIS and an 8 megapixel auto wide shooter. Now on the front you will get an 8 megapixel selfie camera as well. Now on the bottom you will get a USB Type-C connection, and on the top you will find a 3.5mm headphone jack, which I personally rarely use since I'm all Bluetooth. Now as for last, this phone only weighs in at 164 grams, which is basically nothing, and in combination with the size of this phone, you will barely feel this phone in your pockets. Now let's get over to the display, which is really not the greatest. So you get a small 6.1 inch OLED display with full HD plus resolution, but you only get 60 Hz, which is really on the lower spectrum for smartphones these days, even for budget smartphones. And then in addition, you will get some huge black bezels all around the display. Now the ones on the top and on the bottom are a little bit thicker than the ones on the side. As for the video experience on this phone, I think it's doing okay-ish job thanks to the OLED display. You will have some good contrasty pictures, plus you can even change the image quality in your settings. By default it is set to standard mode, but you can also change it to the original mode. Like this, the colors aren't as poppy anymore and they look more natural. Now as for the audio, I guess I can live with the results. It's not the loudest smartphone and the quality isn't the best as well. But you get a few audio settings like the 360 up mix and DSEE Ultimate to upscale the audio. But that's how it sounds like. Box with the typical black and yellow cover. Inside we will find the quick starting guide and more paper stuff. There is the SIM card remover, and you will get a free black silicone case. Next up I got the battery life. So the Sony Xperia 10 Mark VI has a large 5000 mAh crammed inside, which will easily get you through the weekend. That means 48 hours shouldn't be a problem if you're not playing games all day long or watch videos non-stop. Now as for the charging speed, this phone isn't the fastest. In about 30 minutes you will get to 40%, and a full charge takes about 2 hours. Other smartphones in this price range are much faster and only take about 90 minutes on average for a full charge. As for the features, you have to know that this phone runs on Android 14 with all of the basic features. So you get a fingerprint sensor on the side button, which works pretty good in my experience, but the downside to this phone is that you have no face detection. Now as for the storage, you can only grab this phone with 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. And if you take a peek into the storage settings, about 24 gigs are already used up by the system, which is quite a lot. Gladly you can expand the storage with an extra micro SD card. Feature-wise, you will have a few safety emergency features like the emergency SOS, crisis alerts and earthquake alerts. In your accessibility settings, you will find the extra dim feature, which dims the screen beyond your phone's minimum brightness, which is great to save a little bit more of your battery life. Then you will get Side Sense, which is actually a sidebar with a few of your settings for a quicker access, like you can take a screenshot, turn on the torch, or you will find the extra dim feature in here as well. You also get some wallpapers and even some live wallpapers, even though that's just one, which is the Fitbit Steps wallpaper. And also your other wallpaper options are limited to just a few different color options and your photos that you can use from your picture gallery. Up to the gaming and the performance. So in the Sony Xperia 10 Mark X you will find the Qualcomm Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, which is pretty old by now, but it's still doing an okay-ish job. Swiping actions on this phone seem to be smooth, but if you open up the camera and try to change the camera mode, it looks like that it takes an extra split second. And also opening up apps and closing them seem to be a little bit laggy sometimes. If it comes to the gaming, you once again notice that you have a €400 smartphone. I played Genshin Impact on the highest graphic settings, and there are a few lags here and there, and that's even if you're not fighting. So I suggest sticking to the lower or medium graphic settings for the best gaming experience. By the way, there's also no game booster. As well as, let's talk about the cameras. So like I said in the beginning, you have a dual camera setup with a 48 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization and an 8 megapixel auto wide angle shooter. Now on the front, you will also get an 8 mega selfie cam, which can also shoot videos in 1080p and 30 FPS. Now the main camera is a little bit better as it can shoot videos in 4K resolution, but only in 30 FPS. Now there are a few camera modes as well, like the slow-mo, you get a portrait mode, a panorama and a night mode, which will activate automatically if it's getting dark. So picture-wise, I guess you can live with the results. There are definitely some better camera phones out there for the same price. It feels like the camera shutter speed is a little bit slow, which can result in some blurry pictures if you have some shaky hands. The detail level is alright, but it's not the greatest, just like the contrast. At least you can expect some poppy colors. What I actually like are the auto wide angle pictures. Compared to your normal pictures, you barely see the difference in the colors, and only if you zoom in a lot, you'll see differences in the detail level. Now you don't have a macro camera, but at least you get some portrait shots which look alright in my opinion. You get a good separation of your main object with a good background blur, which you can also adjust with a slider. Now as well as the zoom options, I would definitely only use the 2x zoom. Pictures right here look good, but zooming in more will result in pictures you don't really want to use. And guys, there we have it. That's the Sony Xperia 10 Mark 6 smartphone. Now, if you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more tech reviews. And I guess with that one being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.